Hello. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Calling EU, where I've got two incredibly some of the best players in the EU for sure. We've got two-time top 8 placer Rob Catton from the UK and the Pro Tour champion of LA, Arthur Trehet. Guys, thank you so much for coming on. And how are you?
I'll let you go, Arthur.
Yeah, thank you.
So
Thank you, Hamish.
Which one? Sorry.
I'm very happy to be here. It's been a long since I talked with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had a great time in Christmas.
Awesome. And how you doing, Rob?
Yeah, good. Not such a big fan of Christmas. I just want to get back to play Flesh and Blood, so glad it's over and really looking forward to Prague next week, which I think, are you going to, Arthur?
Yeah, I'm also going, and it's going to be my first world premiere, so I'm very excited for that.
Awesome. I'm really looking forward to see all the spoilers that are going to come out, because I won't be able to head down, but I'm very jealous as well, because you're going to get that chance to get that Arachne slip through the cracks as well, which if you probably saw the last episode, I did make a few points about that, which I was a bit like, I don't know if I like an adult hero as a promo only, but that's another time for another day.
Have you seen, a quick note on that, have you seen that it gives your opponent's attacks go again?
If they've also got stealth, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, really bad into like Azuri and Nu, right? That's the thing.
Yeah,
it seems problematic.
Yeah. yeah. Well, speaking of spoilers, Arthur, your topic for today is the spoiler season working?
Yeah. So there's been a change quite recently about the spoiler season, where they delay a lot of spoilers so that the world premieres are more exciting. So they don't reveal a lot of common cards, and which of course will have a lot of impact in the limited format. So for the calling in Prague, for instance, or any world premiere events, it will be very exciting to open the new cards and see how things go. But at the same time, it also prevents people from trying to deck build in advance. And for me, for instance, in Christmas season, where there was not a lot of events, I would have liked to be able to deck build in advance and to prepare for next season and next tournaments, but I was not able. So
yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's such a hard argument to put that, because you clearly know that everyone that's going to go to Prague is going to have an amazing time, because they're going to open all the new stuff up, and it's kind of the point. And I think there's a cost to for the cost of doing it that way is exactly what you said, Arthur, is when you're bored and you want to just deck build and do some stuff at home, you have the information is locked behind that one particular event, but the goal and the prize is everyone going to this event. It's almost like a way to entice people to go, right? Because it's
true.
Yeah, it's so it goes in two different ways. What's your opinion on this, Rob, in terms of the spoiler season?
I mean, I guess the intention is that they don't. Part of it is that they don't want the format to get solved too quickly. Like, I've had it in other card games, like I used to play Magic the Gathering, and people would get quite sick of formats that were solved. I think it's a bit harder in Flesh and Blood to solve things, because things aren't as obvious as they are in other card games. We're still seeing new builds of Enigma. I don't know if you saw Michael Feng's most recent version of it. It's so different again, and it's going to change probably again with this new set. So I think that's part of it. My wife was saying oh, you better do well in Prague, and she was like, you better be practicing. It's how do I practice? There's no way to do that. The best practice we have is the Thursday. The Friday event. So yeah, it's exciting. I understand where Arthur's coming from though, because I definitely feel like over Christmas there's not really so much to be doing Flesh and Blood wise.
Yeah, it's the weirdest point of the season, isn't it? That I think every other time that they got a spoiler season coming up, but there's plenty of callings, and there's some battle hardens, and there's some, pro quests, and everything else sort of keeps you sort of busy. But the Christmas period is like, well, there's nothing really to talk or work about, and all it is just this. It all starts to lean in very heavily to the next set. So yeah, it does certainly feel it this time around. I with my point about spoilers as well, because I'm in this obviously bit of a unique position of I've received spoilers for this channel as well, and it is kind of interesting on like how they distribute this particular cards, if that makes sense, how they want to sort of do it each time, because sometimes you get like a set that is full on majestics, like a really heavy rare version of cards keep throwing out, and then they keep loads of commons behind. And then when there's a particular spoiler season where you get a lot of commons, but none of the juicy stuff is revealed until the big pre-release set. I have to say that I prefer the majestic versions, obviously, because that's the ones where you go, oh, okay, I can see that this is a cool key card to this type of flavor. Whereas common cards, if you like limited, I'm like, wow, I guess this is cool for the limited player. But oh man, this is. I hope the artwork's cool, because sometimes the words on the cards are a little bit like, okay, I guess so. I guess so. But I think overall they've done. I think they've done a really good job on, like, me personally. I think they've done a really good job on how they've done it, and they experiment every single time. Like, they just do something different every single time. And it feels like it's getting harder and harder for content creators to get on the boat. I think the biggest one they've ever done was Dusk Till Dawn, and they had loads and loads of content creators do something. And I feel that I thought that was really cool, but then the downside of all that as well is that no one knows where any of these spoilers are coming from, and you just get missed out in the the wave of 20 people throwing cards out today. Like, oh, okay, I'll spend my day and a half of doing editing work for this to just throw it out there, and inevitably no one will watch it because it'll just go on the Discord.
Yeah.
There's all that.
That's a different point of view from creators.
It
side,
is,
I guess.
It's that really hard spot of going, how much work do you want to do? Because you probably know no one's going to actually watch your video, and you just get someone's just going to spam on the Discord as fast as possible.
I hope that there is, like the guys who decide, the higher ups, the powers that be on LSS side, you'd hope that, like, they like to see, even if your video only gets like 50 views, you'd like to see that, like, they go, oh, I've seen this video that Hamish has done, like this is really cool.
I don't think even they get a chance to see it all. Like the people at the top, I think that there's so many. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I think my approach of all of this when you're working, and I know this is probably far removed from what your original point was, Arthur. I do apologise if I've hijacked it a little bit.
No worries.
I think everyone's got a different sort of take on it. And I think right now, because we've seen, most likely you're going to see a lot of the names that are getting spoilers these days are names that have got spoilers before. So it's not so much a thing of, oh, I've got to prove it now. It's just, I find it more as a thank you for LSS. Just goes, thank you for your time. Here's something to thank you for it, because they do give you a little package as well with it, with the spoiler card that you've done the spoiler for, with a little cold foil, very super rare card, which a lot of us then go, oh, brill, I'll sell that to a collector, and that is kind of the payment of the time you've put in. So I just go, look, I'm just going to make something like I don't know if you played music, I just want to make a song, I just want to paint something. Who am I doing it for? Whoever likes it. I've enjoyed painting this thing, And if someone goes, "Oh, that was a cool picture," oh, cheers, man. I enjoy painting this thing. There you go. That's it. So, and that's how I like to sort of do the spoilers season with my stuff. Even if I get like 200 views or 1,000 on some, you kind of go, yeah. And people go, I just want everyone to just watch it a lot of the time and just go, what the hell was that? but it felt right for me. But yeah, I do see where you're coming from as well, because I'm also a guy that plays the game, and I am eagerly waiting for everyone's spoiler as well, to know how. I think I'm more interested to know how the warrior Trukai works, like a lot more, if that makes sense.
Is it warrior?
Fang.
I think he's the 5th warrior, because we've got like Dorinthia, Bolton.
Yeah, absolutely none of them have living legends.
Right.
They just pile up.
Yeah, so many. Like, maybe we actually get a good one this time.
Yeah, we'll see. Is there anything else, Arthur, that you wanna? Is that you just wrap up on this topic?
Yeah. No, maybe to bounce on what Rob said. Like, I'm not sure. Like, LSL needs to add difficulty layers so that the format isn't solved too fast, because I feel like it has really rarely been the case. And usually, even if it's the case, then sometimes, like for instance, in the Zen meta, it took some time to be solved, but then we saw that it was way too powerful and they had to do nerfs, and then a new meta had to be solved. So like, even when the meta gets solved, sometimes it just ends up being a new meta, just really briefly. So I'm not sure, like, it has to be the reason, like the spoiler reason made for the spoiler season to be like delayed. But yeah. Also, sometimes it feels like when you cannot go to the world premiere, you're a bit left off, because you don't get the nice event that's being where all the spoilers are being delayed for, and you also don't get the spoilers, and you're like, okay, what am I doing now?
Yeah. Have you been to a world premiere before? I think you have, Rob, haven't you?
Yeah, I went to Uprising in Madrid, I think it was.
Yeah. Have you been to one, Arthur?
No, never. That's probably why also my opinion is going to change after Prague. Maybe I will say, okay, this is totally worth it.
Yeah, probably. But I've never been to a world premiere, and I know what you mean. And I think a lot of the time is that the world premiere just, for me, goes, right, well, I guess it's Discord check-in time, because everyone's just going to completely bomb the
Yeah.
and then it does happen super fast. Like, all of a sudden, that world premiere, everyone's just like, cha-ching, there we go. It just bursts open from the seams in that moment. Yeah, so there you go. If as well, if there's anything, if for anyone listening, comment below as well if you think we're right or wrong, or if there's any questions you want to ask for the next episode, throw it out there as well. But we're going to move over to the next topic, where Rob is brought along, and it's a Rob one, so it's spicy, and I love it. Are fab teams useful?
Yeah, yes. It's being pushed quite a lot recently, isn't it? You know, with like we've got the World Cup at Worlds, where like you have like the team from like your national championships that like everyone's progress goes towards. I mean, that's sort of separate to a little bit different to what I'm talking about here. I'm talking more about like, you know, Wolfpack and
the Runaways.
Runaways. What's the Spanish one called?
Oh, the Sunflower Samurais. Oh, what are they called? Sunflower Samurais.
This maybe shows my feelings on it. I'm not, so
no, yeah, that's right.
I know the shirts and like I recognize the people and like Team Poland and stuff, but I guess my question is like, does it actually matter, like in terms of competitive play and like competitive preparation? Like, do you need a team? I would probably argue that I don't think you actually do. Like the way that I prepare, and I think maybe this is similar to how Arthur prepares as well, where you have like a group of people around you that you think, you know, you talk to with like ideas and stuff like that. What decks you think are good? Maybe you've got a guy who just only plays Ranger and he thinks that now is the time to play Ranger and stuff like that. But I think my opinion probably boils down to, I think I don't think you need a team. I think as long as you've got another person to play with who is at a level where you can push each other and you can play competitive matchups, and either of you can pick up the Katsu deck or the Dramai deck or the the Oldhim deck or whatever, and reasonably play it against each other and practice in that way. I just don't think it's that needed.
Okay, Arthur.
I think it depends a lot also on the meta, maybe, because for instance, for Last Worlds, there was the new Dash.io deck, which was released like I don't remember exactly how long ago, but not so long before Worlds, and we had to figure out the new meta. And I think if you're doing it only with like one or two friends, you're gonna have a lot of trouble to maybe deck build the new decks and then like the new Dio, find a good version, then see how it changes the matchups, every matchup. And then I think the more you are, probably if you're a bit organized, the better your chances of finding the good decks, refining the lists, and understanding the meta. Because yeah, once the meta is solved, probably you don't need a lot of teammates because you just need um, good friends that are willing to prepare the matchup with you and do deck build a bit, like refine some lists maybe. But when you have to find out a new meta, it's really helpful, I think.
Well, okay. I'm going to spin this around a bit. So, what is a team, right? Because even you and a group of friends, is that a team? To me, I feel like that is a team that's not pushing a banner. If that makes sense. I think that what the Sunflower Samurais are a bunch of friends. Like you can clearly tell they're just mates. They decide to all wear the same T-shirt that has a logo on it on the day, and I think I think there's that two-pronged argument where I think I see where you're coming from, Rob, when it's you're a group of friends, but you're trying to push out this banner to the world. Is that useful? And I think that's where things start to get a little bit I don't know. Is that what I'm here for? But what makes it very useful for someone like me, for someone like for LSS and the casters, is that we don't have to remember like individuals every time. Kind of like if you're watching a football team, like Arthur, if we're watching the World Cup, if you're bothered, it's the England team. Do you know all the players? Bro, I don't know all the French players. I know Mbappe. I don't know anyone else. But it's just France. Yay, go France. And I'm just rooting for France. So I'm rooting for England. Do you know what I mean? And that's what the team will tend to do because it's like Team Blue Pitch. Do you know every member of Team Blue Pitch? No. I probably heard of one or two guys, but I heard of Team Blue Pitch. So if one person does relatively well, that's just pushing everyone up together. So it's very handy for content creators and casters to latch on to one thing that has a group of good players in it rather than I've got to find the one player that's doing very well. And it takes a lot, as I'm sure both of you have done incredibly well. You've got 2 top 8s at Worlds and you're a Pro Tour champion. And you got do you see what I mean? They'll probably remember that, but if you're behind a team, it does sort of go, Team Poland.
Maybe it pushes some narratives and stuff, but probably as a player, you don't need that branding. But I would say having a organized group of friends is of course useful. Then it doesn't necessarily probably need to be a team, where information is super private and this kind of thing.
No, I can see where you guys are coming from. Hence why I'd love to do this series of stuff where I'm not trying to grab teams on. I'm just trying to help push the narrative of mostly because it's Europe. Europe is such a hard narrative to break through because I don't know, I'm going to sound like I'm banging on over this over and over and over again on my channel, but the Americans, it's very, very hard to break the mold of not talking about a very good American player. They are very good, and I don't want to take it away from them. But their platform and their channels that I'm talking about are wide and vast, and they've won. We know who they are, right? But it's just trying to break, bro. Europe's sick. We're the best region in the world. It's like, we've got stats now to prove it. So sometimes teams and individual players, it's a two-way effect, if that makes sense. So I'm just talking from a content creator and done casting for callings as well.
Yeah, there is two sides to the coin, isn't there? Like, I guess you're talking more from like the PR sort of
storytelling. Yeah.
Whereas like, I guess I tend to only see things really through the lens of how does that win me the tournament sort of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
it doesn't help you win the tournament, does it? It ultimately doesn't. Well, because, in terms of your narrative, does it help you win the tournament?
No, that side doesn't. But like Arthur was saying around like if there's formats, so like we're about to go into an unknown format. I mean, imagine if they also changed it up even more. If, say they went Zen's banned and let someone ban a bunch of cards from Kane or something like that would just throw even more craziness into the format. And if you're just not got enough people to be able to spread around different things, then you might not find the best deck and things like that, which is a downside definitely. Personally, I found with trying to organize and orchestrate bigger teams is just, I think the first hurdle I think is you got to find a group of people who are all like-minded. They all want the same thing and they're all willing to put in the same things, which I found difficult. And then the next thing is like actually organizing people, because obviously most of us don't do this like full time like some of the Americans do. Like, we've got jobs, we've got lives, we've got education and family and stuff like that going on. So, and things are all pulling the team in different directions and stuff. So, to be honest, that's why I sort of like pieced out from it and decided to just test with one person.
Yeah, and it's fair, isn't it? Because also you kind of want to like the people you're working and playing a fun game with.
Got that as well.
Yeah, even though you got some great players, they might just go, oh, this guy does my head in, man. Like, this isn't fun. So, yeah absolutely. I was going to say, Arthur, France, the French side of things in terms of teams and everything is, again, it feels very almost like the UK. I know that the UK have got two teams that are trying to push that narrative, but France is very much not a team-based thing.
I feel like in France mostly everybody trains with each other, and there's a lot of information sharing, and there's just like there are groups of friends, but there's no like official team, or at least not that I know of. And yeah, but it works okay, I think, for French people. Didn't have a lot of big results before Pro Tour LA, I think, but now we are like the French community, I think, is getting better and better, and yeah, there's no official team, but there is still a lot of like information sharing between the players.
Yeah, I wonder, would you guys do something with what Team Poland does? Because Team Poland doesn't have a team. What from when I chatted with Bartosz, is that they also just have a group of different regions, and they all just play within with each other, and they don't actually mix too much of the regions together. But when they all go to the event, they're representing their country. They just go, right, we're Team Poland. I don't really actually know half the people in Team Poland. We're here just because we're Polish. Team Poland, let's go. Whoever does well, that's it.
I mentioned this on the Fabled Academy thing I went on the other week, because like as a British person, I don't know if you know this, Arthur, but like say you're walking around in the UK and you see like a group of guys all wearing like the UK flag, like the Union Jack. The first thing that most people think of is racism.
Yeah, so no, it's just right. This is some sort of right-wing nut job. Yeah,
exactly.
You can only fly your flag when the World Cup or the EU is on. That's it. That's the only time. If you leave, like Christmas, if you leave it on too long, get that flag off.
Which is such a shame. Like, it feels like it's almost been robbed of like everyday people for like different hobbies and uses, right?
Yeah, but I think it's I know what you mean. I mean, I'm from the UK. Is that the same in France as well? Or are you guys
Yeah,
very?
it can also like the French flag can also be seen as as a sign of like very right wing um, like or racism and stuff. But I think if you're wearing it on a jersey, I think it's okay. Nobody will think you're racist or
No, yeah, I think it's the context. We all wear our
yeah.
England. Everyone will
But if
wear the French football tops
Mm,
when it's the French is playing on the football. Everyone's like, yeah, of
yeah,
course. You know, it's that's. I think that's fine.
yeah, and if
Yeah.
you have your flesh and blood jersey with the flag, I think it will be probably fine.
Yeah. Unless if you walked around with your flesh and blood top, every day. I don't know. Yeah. No, I don't think. I think everyone would be like, "What the hell is this guy doing?"
Yeah.
Maybe that's. Would you guys be like? How would that be? There's no teams. There's no little things. But actually, they turned around and went, "Hey, well, should we all just wear our country? Someone is organised to wear a top. It's just all the same, and it's just got flesh and blood. It's got the flag on it. You're just repping your country. No team. How would that be?
I
You wouldn't care. I know. I just want to
No, I
play.
would care.
Oh,
I don't like the idea of, so let's say 50 people are going from the UK to the next Pro Tour, whatever.
yeah.
Let's imagine it's not in London as well. Let's imagine it's like, wherever else in the world. And 50 of us go, yeah, let's all get the same shirts because we're all from the UK. We're all going to this Pro Tour, whether we're qualified or not. The first thing that pops into my head is I am now associated with whatever behavior any of them other people do. So if any of them are cheating or if any of them are like doing anything, stealing, swearing, getting drunk, any sort of embarrassing thing, I feel like I'm linked to that, which, I mean, I guess that's maybe a very pessimistic view on things, but
No,
like
no.
that,
I mean that can happen. If someone did something pretty bad in a team, the team goes down with the ship. If that makes sense. Even if you were like, I'm totally innocent from this. It's all. Yeah. No. It's a risk, isn't it? It's a risk. Yeah. Any final thoughts on that, Arthur? On
Yeah.
a country like how Team Poland does it.
I think it's nice. I mean, as long as you're representing a community, um, it's cool. Like if all your friends wear the same Team Poland jersey, then it's nice just to have the same as them. I would be happy like in Worlds, for instance, I was wearing a jersey that was not like the French jersey, but that was from my store, the shop. So I was happy to wear it with my friends from the shop. But if it were like the the um, the friend team friends one with like also all my friends wearing it, I would be happy to do it. But I don't think it's necessary that it's about a flag or a country, just about a group of friends or people that you like. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. There you go. Don't worry. There's no right or wrong answer.
you've
It's
got
just.
my like, I'll be providing the hot takes, and Arthur's going to be providing the sensible
All
takes.
takes.
I love it though. It's all good. That's what it's here for. Right, and the final one. So this is born from a bit, I guess, from seeing your top 8, Rob, in Worlds, and it is something that me and you had a little chat about, which I thought would be a really cool topic to talk about. Should we rewind plays during major events? So obviously, when it comes to armories and everything, whatever, right? Whatever. Rewind all day, mate. I just got this complete play all wrong. Pick up your hand. Yeah, just try again. Let's figure this out, right? I'm not too fussed about ProQuest and RTNs having a little bit of a whatever. Although I did go to one RTN and it felt like I was at Pro Tour. This guy was like, "No, this is it. This is the official rules. If you do not follow my rules, you will be DQ'd." I'm like, "Oh my, right, it's 15 people here, bro. I'm in the middle of Ipswich. I don't care." But yeah, tier 4s. I think it was when I saw the rewind, which was completely legal. Judge told you said it was fine to do, Rob, and it's no shade on you, but it is very weird from when I started, of when you played that card, you sat there and had a think, and you went, hang on, I don't actually want to play that. And they went, yeah, that's fine. is there anything else to expand on that point as well for you?
I guess let's just cover for anyone who's watching who doesn't know what the official ruling is.
Yes.
The ruling is, and I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't know the actual words, but basically, at any given level, so right the way up to worlds, right the way down to armories, if a player makes a play, does something, whatever it is, and decides they don't want to do that, they want to rewind, they want to do something different, they can call a judge. And if the judge decides that no information has been gained and nothing has changed, then they may rewind and do something different. Which I was surprised about when I first heard it. This is not a particularly new ruling, but since I've learned of it in the last 2 years or so, however long it's been out for, I've just been living by the mantra of if I ever decide I want to do something different, I'm just gonna not even say anything to my opponent because I don't want to get any information from them. I just want to say, please stop. I'm just gonna call a judge and plead my case and try and see if they'll let me take it back. Sometimes they say no, sometimes they say yes, and sometimes they say no for bizarre reasons as well, which happened during Worlds. So
Yeah.
I had judges which told me that I gained information because we counted how much the attack was for, like as in we counted how much it was coming in for.
Well,
Which
let's not get that's right. Well, here's
Because
the
that's even
card. It's not. There's nothing new. You've given up your information to your opponent, so that's a downside to you. Yeah, but now he knows how much it attacks for. Yeah, he knows how much. He knows the card's name. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll cover the scenario because it's actually a pretty good story, I think,
Yeah,
and how
yeah.
it evolves. So we're playing draft at Worlds, and I'm playing Verdance, and on my turn, I decide I'm going to pitch a blue to use my weapon. I'm going to discard this to amp one, and then I'm going to discard this to amp one, and then I'm going to pitch this to play this card. And then I did all them things, and then I went, Judge, I don't want to do any of this. Can I take it all back? And they
Okay.
do a lot of talking between us, and he decides that because we counted up how much damage the spell was coming in for, that I'd gained information, there was going to be no rewind, which is utterly bizarre to me.
But did you talk about it with your opponent, or just you said how much it was going for?
So I think when I played it, I went, this is 3, and then we sort of both counted together. Like we both went 3, 1, 1, 1, so 6 or 7 or whatever it came in for. So like we totted it up together, and then my opponent looked at his hand, and then I called a judge.
Oh, so you didn't see anything in his hand?
I didn't see. He didn't do anything. No.
Right. Okay.
And the judge rules that he can't, that we can't. But then the judge also rules. But I'm going to walk away after I've made this ruling, and if you guys want to do something different, that's fine. Which I thought was crazy.
Whoa.
Given this is the world.
I said no, but like, do what you want when I'm not here. It's like the police goes, please don't rob, but when I'm not here, I can't see you.
Like, how is that? But then my opponent decides that he will let me take it back because he's looking at his hand going, I'm dead to what you've just done. So he lets me take it back just in case I make a play that doesn't result in him dying.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ridiculous.
Right. That is a wild story. So what stance do you have, Rob? Is rewinds fine, or should we just like where are we on the rewind thing?
I personally don't care. I just want them to make a decision, and that decision be you get the same ruling every time.
Right.
Because on that weekend, I think I did 3 rewinds, which are all successful for me in different ways. Like it always resolved differently. I had friends told, like Sean Nolden was told that he gained information because he realised he could make a better play. Right. If that is the case, if you can gain information because you realise you've made a better play, there can be no take-backs ever.
No.
Because are you trying to make a take-back so you can make a worse play? Like, I just want consistency, to be honest, in the rules. And right now, like, it's a very open to interpretation rule, which it has to be because of how broad it is. And I spoke to Bartosz, the Polish judge, about this. Like, it needs to be trained better, I think, in the judges that are implementing it, because the amount of different outcomes you can get for very similar scenarios is just not acceptable, especially not at Worlds.
No, especially not at Worlds, especially with you like that call that was given to you. You're not table 100 and something. you're table like 10 at this point, right? You know, this is okay. Well, I'm getting into top 8s here, and some guy goes, well. You could punch him if I don't see it. Like, well, okay, well, I'm not. I'm just exaggerating a bit. Arthur, what's your sort of opinion on the rewinds? Was there anything that happened with you when you were playing Dromai on that victory lap in LA?
Actually, I can't remember me rewinding, but probably it happened. I mean, I would say that normally I'm pretty happy that rewinds are allowed, because personally I know that I mess up sometimes, and it's really frustrating when I know that I would have been able to do so much better if just I didn't mess up, and I'm really happy that it's not as punishing. Like, I think the ruling right now is quite open, and it's also like easy for newer players to get to the tournament and it without being frustrated because you messed something up and your whole tournament is over. Um, I think it's pretty welcoming for new players. I like that, but I also understand the point of view where you're like, okay, now this is a very competitive event. You cannot go back, and you have to be very precise in your plays.
Yeah, I
So,
think my sort of point is that Pro Tools and Worlds, even callings, I'll throw callings in there. I think callings should be fairly strict. Just I think they should be pretty strict in terms of I put it all in the same boat. That are you all right? You're all right with rewinds at major events.
me, personally, yeah, but I mean, it's also because probably I'm biased because I do rewind myself. Like, for instance, it happens to me quite often to just think, oh, I'm gonna pitch this, and then wait a second, I want to pitch something else, you know.
Yeah.
And I know that if it wasn't allowed, I would lose more matches.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
No, that's fair.
I think I agree. Yeah, I mean, I take great use of the rule. But I think as a player, like it's situation to situation, things feel different. Like if you attack with an attack and your opponent goes block 3 and they just put down a card, and then they go, actually, sorry, can I block with a different 3 block? Most of the time, people just go, yeah, whatever, because who cares? Like, there's nothing really. That's like feels acceptable as a player. Like, it just feels like he's not really changing things. But like, say your opponent goes, actually, can I not block with that? I'll pitch to Storm Striders and then I'll play this Ether Wildfire and stuff like that. That's a bit different, right? Like that feels a little bit different to the initial thing that was done. And also, it matters on like what point you are during the game. Like, say my 3 block thing. It's different when you're on 40 life than when you're on 3 life. So like it's really hard to have like a set rule where like as a person I think, yeah, everyone can do takebacks against me or no one can do takebacks against me. I feel like it's a bit of a shades of grey thing where like it always sort of depends on the situation. Whereas whether or not I feel it's okay in the scenario, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
And yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. And it's when that example of I want to block for free. Actually, no, I don't. I want to use Storm Striders and stuff like that. A bit of me just sort of just goes, well, I guess I'm not too bothered because really, if you did or didn't, if you like, I would turn around and go, if you start executing your Storm Striders, you're not gonna start. I'm not gonna let you take these Storm Striders back now. Like, do you know what I mean? If you're gonna go, actually, I'm gonna pop Storm Striders and then I'm gonna play this. I go, okay, well, we're off now. And if he goes, actually, no, no,
What I
no,
mean,
I don't want to use my Storm Striders. Oh, bro, you just block free and then use this and do this. Your Storm
that shows,
Striders is done. Like, come
that
on.
shows exactly what I mean. That's where your line is. So your line is like once we go down this path, it's not acceptable to go back. Whereas someone else might go, no, yeah, that's fine. So I guess it's different though, because it's what we're talking about here is like player to player sort of like rulings, where like what we allow each other to do, whereas the rules and like involving the judge is obviously a very different path.
It's hard, isn't it? It's so snapshot context. And I completely agree with if you play a card, if you're the attacker, you're playing a card and the other person just goes, okay, I haven't really thought about this. Is this down? and you go, no, actually, no, I don't want to do that one yet. I think that's like, it's fine. It's like, I've just given you something. I'm at a negative because here you go, I've got a rabble. There you go. Right. That to me is like, yeah, you just made it worse for yourself. The whole point is mystery. A lot of this game's strength is based on what's next, and you just gave away one of your little surprises. I don't see that as a big deal.
I have heard some, just a quick thing. I've heard of some British players who have like, which doesn't reflect well on the whole British players are cheaters sort of thing. But I've heard some players that have been like, because the rule is if you haven't gained information. So when you see your opponent do something that's wrong, they were saying that you should immediately try and show them some information so that when they call the judge, they can't get it rewound because they've gained information.
That's shocking, bro.
And you wonder why I don't want to wear an England shirt.
No! Arthur's like that. Ugh, it sucks to be you guys.
Yeah, but at the same time, like if you try to give information very fast, it may be like, for instance, it would be as soon as the opponent attacks, you should block with one card just to be sure that they get information. But if you do that, then you also maybe you should have thought better of like what do you actually want to block with, because if you actually like personally, I need to take time to think about decisions, and I think if you try to do these kind of things, you will lose a lot of edge in just making better decisions.
Yeah, because how do you know they made the wrong play? Like, how do you know they made the wrong play? You're probably thinking, oh, okay, I mean, I don't get this play, but this guy's obviously big braining me, and they're probably sitting there going, this is a terrible play. What am I doing? And it's only when they go, hang on, sorry, yeah. I don't see how that point that you said, Rob, would work, because unless they go, okay, I'm going to do this, judge, do you know what I mean? If they just go judge straight away and no one knows why, you go, oh, what's going on? What's up? I want to rewind my play. And the opponent goes, oh, okay, that's... Oh, throw some cards on the table. Too late, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? How do they know your play is wrong?
I mean, there's certain situations where you know, like, if you sat there thinking for 5 minutes, or a couple of minutes each, where you just sat there thinking, and you know that if they do a certain thing, that it's a mistake by them, like,
And I know, I was going to say, I know technically this is right. I know that missing a tunic trigger is a technical thing because of the wording of it, but I hate it. I do it, and that's fine. But I genuinely hate seeing if I watch both of you two play a game and both of you miss a tunic trigger, I'll be like, oh, for God's... I want to see all of your tools online. And I want to see what you're going to do with it. Not, did you remember to wash the dishes? No. No, I didn't. Silly old me. But we could have all saw this grand plan of you doing something and then you doing a counter slap. But we didn't see any of that because Rob forgot to do the tunic trigger. So I guess neither of you are going to be showing I want a judge to just go, there you go. Because I actually want to see you guys do some cool stuff with it rather than know how much you remembered to move a dice up. Which is, again, someone will turn around and say, but that's all part of the skill. I'm like, yeah, I know. And maybe you've got a point there. But if we're allowed to do rewinds on moves, why can't we just let someone have a tunic? Do you know what I mean? Oh, sorry, I would have ticked that. Judge, I would have ticked that. Just as much as, sorry, Judge, I don't want to play that card. I don't want to play that card. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. How far down the rabbit hole can we go with this rewind? Remember the days when we weren't allowed to do anything? Like if you put
I wasn't there,
down,
so
no, yeah. If one that's why Matt, when we watch Matt Folks play, he holds that card. It's like chess. The second you let go of that chess piece, that's your move, and you hold on to that card. You do this, no, yes, no, yes, no. The second you let go, that's your play, bro. Tough luck, no take backs. Yeah. I remember those days, Rob. Did you like those days?
I think I do now because I used to be like when I used to play Magic and stuff like that in competitive play. I used to be one of them players who would like hold people to, well, you've done it now, so you can't take it back, sort of thing. But these days, like I think I've started to get more confident in how good I am at the game. And I like to, at the end of the day, when I've won a tournament, I like to think I've won this tournament because I played better, I prepared better, whatever. I had a better deck, rather than they forgot their tunic counter, so I won, or they got a deck reg error and had an IP2 for 2 turns, so that's why I won. Like it's not particularly fun to win like that. You want to win because you've earned it. Like it means more, doesn't it? Like no one really wants to go to a tournament and just beat everyone. Like they've just everyone there, all their opponents are like brand new to the game, and you beat them very easily. That's not fun.
No. I'll do one more last point with you, Arthur, when it comes to this, because you've played a lot of, was it Legends of Runeterra?
Yeah.
There's no takebacks, bro.
No. When I played online games before, there was indeed no takebacks, and you had to deal with it this way. But it was part of the game. I don't know. For me, it was okay because it was not possible, but I don't know. It feels different on a table, like when you're playing with the cards and like, okay, but I could actually just take the card and we say it didn't ever happened. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I suppose as well, when you're playing up against someone on the computer, even though you are playing a person, you're not, if that makes sense. It's like they're so removed on the other end, you don't even know their existence. You just see their board state. Whereas when you're actually playing with a person, yeah, there's so much, like you're in that space, you and that opponent, and so it's just so much like stuff bouncing off of each other. Just being in that same space with someone else and just watching them do the whole.
Also,
All
I think
that.
on online games, there are no like tunic counter that you can miss actually. Usually, like mechanics are more like, okay, you play this card and then all effects resolve normally, and you cannot you cannot forget to do anything. So it's also, I think in a card game you have to do more things by yourself, and it's more normal to forget stuff because, oh, you didn't tick up your tunic, you didn't put like the card of your pitch down on your bottom of your deck, you didn't do everything at the same time. Like, I think it's more normal to need takebacks maybe.
I would love to play a computer game where the computer goes, "Oh, sorry, bro, I forgot." Like, what? What do you mean? You forgot to do tunic, computer? Just, I forgot.
I remember there was a thing in competitive Magic where like you'd have players who have only ever played online, where things are remembered for them, and when they actually have to go to an in-person tournament for the first time ever, and like they don't really know how to shuffle, and yeah,
Mm.
they're not used to having to remember to do everything, all the little things that you need to do, and it's a big culture shock, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that was I love that, actually. That was a brilliant topic. I love that one because I love topics that just go. I don't know where we're gonna go with this one, and I think a lot of people do like the take backs. They certainly like it when they've got a take back, right? They certainly hate it when the opponent goes, "Okay, I'm gonna do this. Oh, I got it all wrong." Especially when you see Kano go, "Wait, I don't want to." Like, look, you're 15 cards like pitched, bro. It's too
Well,
late.
you just wait for the judge to walk away, and then you just have like a little agreement between you and your opponent.
You didn't see anything.
You know?
Well, thank you so much, guys. Again, everyone as well, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions you want to throw to our next guest coming up, just leave a comment below and we'll throw it out there. Rob, Arthur, thank you so much.